Hi everyone, today we're going to go over the unit circle. You guys have seen this before in Algebra 2, but we want to go over it with you guys just to review real quick before going deep into some trig. So you guys just learned about radians in the last lesson, and so we're going to use that knowledge. We're going to actually write these in radians, okay? So remember, we always start right here is 0, okay? And a full rotation was 2 pi. So you could say this is 0 or 2 pi, okay? That's where 0 and 2 pi are. So if a full rotation is 2 pi, half a rotation would be pi. All right. And then half of pi would be pi over 2. So we have 0, 1 half, 2 halves. 2 over 2 is 1. That's how that reduces, which would make this 3 halves, so 3 pi over 2. And then we would have 4 pi over 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. That's where that 2 pi comes from, okay? Now we're going to focus on the 45-degree angles here next. So we can, which is this guy right here, right down the middle, this splits this 90-degree angle in half. So they would be half of 1 half, which would be 1/4. So this is pi over 4. So now we're kind of counting by like fourths here. We got 1/4, 2/4, which is 1 half. This would be 3/4. 4/4 reduces to pi. 5/4. 6/4 reduces to 3 over 2. Then here would be 7/4. And then we come back up to 8/4, which 8 divided by 4 is 2. Okay? Now, these next guys, we're going to just think of these as sixes, so 1/6. So if this is 0, this would be 1/6 of 1, because you got to think of this as just 1, right? So this would be 1/6. This next one would be 2/6, which reduces to pi over 3. So we really just say that's pi over 3, but that's how like that reducing goes down, okay? So that's 1, 2, this would be 3/6. This would be 4, wait, hold on, sorry, 1, 2, oh, this is 3, sorry. 3/6. We're counting by these like 30-degree angles. So here, every 30 degrees, you have 1/6, okay? So that's 3. This gives you the 4/6, which gives you the 5/6 here, which gives you the 6/6. Okay, so again, so 3 pi over 6 reduces to 1 half there. This 4 pi over 6 will reduce to 2 pi over 3. This is actually just 5 pi over 6. That doesn't reduce, right? 6 over 6 reduces down to 1, so that's how we end up with that there. Okay, so we can kind of just carry out that pattern all the way through. So if that's 6, another 30 degrees would be 7 pi over 6. Another 30 would be 8 pi over 6, which reduces down to 4 pi over 3. Another 30 degrees would be 9 pi over 6, which reduces down to 3 halves. And then we would have 10 pi over 6, 11 pi over 6, and this would be 12 pi over 6, which reduces down to 2 pi right there, right? Okay, let's reduce this guy though. So this would be 5 pi over 3, and this is 11 pi over 6. That one didn't change. Okay, so what I have written in the purple are the radians of the unit circle, but I just wanted to kind of show you those patterns. So you don't necessarily have to like memorize each individual piece, but if you get stuck on your memorization, you guys can just go back and think of these patterns to get there, okay? You do have to know that unit circle. All right, it says, how do we find the sine and cosine of values that do not create a triangle? All right, real quick, all points are labeled as cosine sine, meaning cosine is your x values and sine are your y values. All right, so if you have a coordinate point here, remember the radius of the unit circle is just 1. This x value, so like from here to here, would just be 1. And then we don't move up or down on the y value, so that coordinate point's 1, 0. Okay, I'm going to draw all these points real quick. We're just going to focus on the axis points. All right, up here, that y value is 0. And again, we're dealing with a radius of 1. I'm sorry, the x value is 0. We're dealing with a radius of 1, so the y value is 1. My apologies. All right, over here we go -1 along the x-axis and 0 along the y. Again, we're just doing a radius of 1 of our unit circle. And then down here, the x value is 0 and the y value is -1. Okay? All right, now it says to find each. So I want to find sine of pi over 2. Well, if you look back at your unit circle, pi over 2 is all the way up here, right? Since I want the sine value, I just want the y coordinate of that, which is 1. So that just equals 1. All right, cosine of pi. Here's pi. The cosine value is the x value, so this is -1. Negative pi over 2. Because there's a negative right there, that means we're going to rotate down. Okay, do you remember that from an earlier lesson? So if we have negative angles in degrees or radians, we rotate down. If it's positive, we rotate up. So this would be negative pi over 2. And that sine value, I got to pick the y one, so that's -1. Okay? So we're rotating down here. Whoops. Alrighty. All right, last part right here. What about the signs of each quadrant? This is talking about like where sine, cosine, and tangent, which we're actually going to talk about later, are positive. If you can remember this saying, all scholars take calculus. All scholars take calculus. That will kind of help you guys with this. So this is the all scholars take calculus. Just go in the order of the quadrants, okay? So all of sine, cosine, and tangent are all positive here, but think of that as, okay, my x values, which is cosine, are positive. My y values, which are sine, are positive, okay? And then just a little quick tidbit, tangent, remember, is sine over cosine. So if I divide two positives by each other, I get positive. That's why it's there, okay? Sine is positive in quadrant 2 because your y values are positive. Like any coordinate point right here, the y value is positive. Tangent is positive down here in quadrant 3 because tangent, remember, is sine over cosine. Well, your x and your y values are both negative. Two negatives make positive, right? And then cosine is positive down here because those are your x values, and any coordinate point in this quadrant, the x value is positive, so that's why. All right, but honestly, if you just remember this, all scholars take calculus, you'll be fine. I just wanted to explain the reasoning there, okay? All right, let me know if you have any questions. Get started on your homework.